Hello and welcome. I am Mara Cepeda. This is Rappler Talk. We are here today with Senate President Vicente Tito Sotto III, who has the responsibility of leading the upper chamber of the 18th Congress through the crippling coronavirus pandemic. Hello, sir. Welcome to Rappler.
Uh, Hi. Hello, Mara. Thank you very much. And thank you for this opportunity to be interviewed by Rappler.
SP, the hottest issue right now, of course, is the issue of VIP vaccination of several local government officials. Last night, President Duterte said that this could be equivalent to malversation of public funds or even estafa. Do you believe these local government officials should be punished for cutting the line ahead of our frontliners in the vaccine priority list?
The president is a lawyer and he was a city prosecutor before. So he probably would know if that will fall into that category, as he mentioned. Now, the mayors, the local government officials, even the barangay officials, are all under the DILG.
Mm,
They will all be answerable to the DILG. If
mhm,
the DILG feels and thinks that they have violated not only protocols, but committed violation of anything in the revised penal code, particularly what the president mentioned, then they will have to face that. Um, it's um, it's very difficult to judge them at this point.
mhm, mhm,
But the thing is, there is a growing concern that the mayors have mentioned that parang gusto nung mga constituents nila, may nagsasabi na kayo muna dahil
mhm,
delikado. Eh, It's ano it's a chicken and egg thing. Diba? Kasi dapat talaga sinunod muna, frontliners muna. Kung
mhm,
tapos pa lahat yung frontliners, perhaps, then they will be able to pakita na, hindi, okay, safe ito, mauna kami.
mhm,
So the question would be, tapos na ba yung mga frontliners nila?
mhm, mhm,
I think that's the bottom line.
mhm,
And then, medyo mabigat na yung, kasi yung mga frontliners, I don't see any reason why any of them would uh, would not want to be vaccinated or inoculated because alam nila eh. Alam nila yung mga efficacies nun eh. Lahat, kahit anong vaccine, I'm sure pinag-aralan na nila yan because they're in they are in the health worker sector. The vaccines would be 100% efficacy as far as death is concerned.
mhm,
And then around 70 to 80%, I think, efficacy on not getting serious or being hospitalized.
mhm,
And then around 50 to 70% efficacy on hindi ka mahahawa. Pero may possibility na mahahawa ka pa rin. Lahat ng vaccine, it's the same because the clinical trials usually take up years. But this time, they had to, kumbaga sa basketball, fast break eh. Fast break yung mga vaccines. So you cannot blame them for not having a 100% efficacy on whether you will be fully immunized or not.
mhm,
Yan ang
mhm,
problema. So ngayon, yung mga health workers, if they were all vaccinated already, then yung mga next in line, ay kung medyo nagdadalawang isip at gusto magpakita ng government officials na safe ito, de okay lang. Pero
mhm.
kung hindi, as I said, they will be answerable to the department that has jurisdiction over them, and that is Department of Interior and Local Government.
In other countries, Senate president, their mayors, their governors, and even their heads of state, are actually one of the first to get vaccinated. And the argument there is that it's a way to build confidence on the vaccination program. Is this applicable in the Philippines where, we have very limited supply of COVID-19 vaccine? How do you balance that? Convincing the public to get vaccinated, but we don't really have a lot of supplies.
You actually answered it already by saying that we have very limited supply at this point. So therefore, tama yung linya ng IATF na health workers muna, frontline health workers muna.
Mhm.
In other countries, especially yung mga well-to-do or first world countries, they can afford. As a matter of fact, I know for a fact that there are about 2 or 3 countries that have ordered and have already some in their possession vaccines which is times 5 their population. Ano? So, hindi ba, pwede sa kanila yon because it's readily available already. And the rollout is easier because um, they have enough. Unlike in our case, hindi pa dumarating lahat eh. Medyo may problema tayo. Di ba? So, really, again, it's a chicken and egg thing, you know. Kaya lang, ako, nasolve ko na yung chicken and egg na yun eh. It comes first eh. Sagot ko is, it depends on whether you're eating breakfast or dinner.
Mr. Senate President, during the last session of the Senate before the Lenten season, Senator Bongo actually called for an investigation into these local government officials. He said he intends to create a sub-panel in the committee he holds in the Senate to investigate the so-called VIP vaccination. Do you back this call? Especially, before last year, napakainit nung issue na may mga nabakunahang PSG officials and certain cabinet officials.
Well, yes, I think he mentioned it in his privilege speech yesterday. No? But before he did that, he went to see me and that he was going to deliver a privilege speech on the matter. But he also said that he's willing to allow me to create a or the Senate, for that matter, to create a subcommittee or the committee of the whole to handle it. No? Because ang sabi niya is baka daw siya mapagbintangan na medyo na biased siya towards the administration. So that's how it is. And that's what we have been doing in the Senate. If you noticed, there were a number of times that we have already called for a committee of the whole. The main reason is that there are many issues evolving in any particular issue. Kaya pagka ganun, it's better that instead of 3 or 4 committees handling it, let the committee of the whole handle it so that all will be members and all will be present and available to everybody. Again, that is a possibility. A subcommittee is possible. A committee of the whole is possible on the investigation. It depends on my colleagues. You know very well, I lead by consensus.
Mr. Senate President, you have expressed your disappointment on how the government is handling the pandemic so far. How did we get here? You said it was a combination of factors.
Yes, because I'm disappointed at how the FDA under the DOH has not fully utilized the availability of treatments and cures. Tayo aabot sa ganito, umaabot ng 8,000 a day, 7 to 8,000 a day, medyo bumaba yata ng konti kahapon. Pero we all know for a fact na hindi nare-report lahat yan. Hindi rin nare-report kung whether nag-false positive.
Yeah.
Basta nakalista lang na positive. Tapos nag-test ulit, negative na. Hindi nare-report yun eh. Anyway, so that's my disappointment. Sana meron mga availability, may mga available na mga treatment, merong mga binanggit na ni Secretary Duque before. He agreed that yes, yung Avigan, Remdesivir, medyo may mahal yan, pero yung ivermectin, sabi niya, he agrees because other countries have already authorized the use. Tapos all of a sudden, the FDA will say we should not use it. And I understand that the main proponent, the doctors, the group of doctors that are handling the ivermectin thing is that they were, I don't know, they were, I think, called out by the FDA, if not written a complaint or something like that.
Mhm.
So that's part of my disappointment. Now, doon sa sinasabi na it's a combination of both. Yes and no. But
Mm.
yes, because, example, um, there are other moves that the government can do. As I mentioned, one is treatment and cure concentration. Second is the fact that in June, as early as June, there were already pharma companies that were offering us the vaccine, and somebody dropped the ball, as they said. No? Now, aside from that, may, sa ayo naman, as far as the people are concerned, naiinip tayo eh. Di
Mm.
ba? And we're worried about the economy. And there are those of us who really follow the health protocols. But there are also who do not. And they complain. They even complain. Nagko-complain pa yung mga hindi sumusunod sa protocols, hindi nagko-complain. But I do not blame them
Mm.
because may mga government officials that are violating the protocols. So what do you expect? Oh, that's why the answer, both.
Mhm. Mhm. Senate President, you have criticized the gross incompetence, as you said, of Health Secretary Francisco Duque III. You've been very vocal about that, and you even backed the call of Senator Amy Marcos to abolish the IATF. But some of your critics are saying, why just stop there? Why not attribute the failure or the incompetence to the president himself? Because at the end of the day, the IATF and Secretary Duque all answer to the president. If the president doesn't call them out, they'll be continuing their incompetent ways.
Well, that's another level of issue. Let me go first to the issue where you said we have Senator Amy Marcos has called out for the abolition of
Mm.
the ATF, and I concurred. I said
Yes.
I agree. All right. Uh, it's what do you call this? It's uh, parang pareho rin yun ng ano eh, pareho rin yun ng mga pagka-medisyon. It's a exasperation. Ganun
Mm.
lang yun. Um, on my part, I don't know about Senator Marcos, on my part, like for example, di ba mayroong mga times na narinig mo yung kababayan natin, abolish na yung Congress na yan. Di ba? And then a lot of people agree. Oh, but is it possible? Can you do that? You change the Constitution.
Mm.
Ganun, so, ganun din naman sa IATF. As far as I'm concerned, it was a mere exasperation. So,
Mm.
sige na nga. Pero, tongue in cheek. How do you do that? That's not easy to do. Because the IATF was not created by Congress.
Yeah, it was created actually by the former president, Aquino, during
Yeah, I think it was an executive order. So, ano lang yun, kumbaga sa on my part, it was mere exasperation on what's happening. So parang it's a wake-up call.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
know,
So if
bottom line,
Mhm.
it's a wake-up call to the IATF na teka muna, yung may mga kasama kayong hindi maganda kilos, parang gano'n.
Mm.
Gano'n eh. That's why
What can members of the IATF do to improve?
maganda the way Senator Recto put it eh.
Uh-huh.
Kotse, hindi lang change engine,
Change.
change change oil, change driver. Parang gano'n lang yun. Again, I assure you, even if you ask Senator Recto, it was said in exasperation.
Okay. So as Senate President, because we can't really change the composition of the IATF because may existing EO nga creating it that it's precisely going to be formed by members of the cabinet. So what can they do to improve the response? Some are saying they should listen to health experts more.
Very good question, Mara. Correct. They should put in more doctors. That's the better call.
Mhm.
Instead of abolishing the IATF, let us put in more doctors. They should listen to the Nurses Association, to the Philippine Medical Association. They should listen to them.
Mhm.
They would know better on how to handle this pandemic, this epic pandemic.
Mhm. Mhm. But Senate President, the long-time criticism also of the government is that the response to the pandemic is very militarized. So instead of putting in health experts, public health experts at the helm, we're putting in former military men. For example, our vaccine czar is General Carlito Galvez Jr. Do you think that we can attribute that to the problem that we have now, a military approach to a health problem?
No, I think Secretary Galvez or General Galvez is competent
Hmm.
as I think he's a very good manager.
Mhm.
And that's the head of the IATF as far the vaccine SAR is concerned. Management. Hindi doktor ang kailangan doon, management. So okay lang yun. And then the other appointments, well, it's the president's call. He's the president. He was voted by the majority of our countrymen to be the president. So it's his call.
Mhm.
It's his decision. Kung sino ang gusto niya ilagay doon. We can only voice out suggestions or criticisms or what have you. But that's about it. The buck stops with him.
Mhm. SP, then do you think the president is also responsible for where we are now in the pandemic, the worsening of our pandemic response? Is the president also responsible for that, or do you think it's just the people that he assigned?
I would not go to that extent. I could not imagine any other president in the past that would be able to handle this pandemic the ideal way we would want it to be. You see, like for example, in the case of Vietnam, Taiwan, Singapore, they are not led by just a president. They are led by a government group or parliament. No? And the people follow. Why? Kasi pinoprosecute eh. Di ba? Sumusunod sila sa lahat ng protocols. Kaya sila successful ngayon. Dito nga sa atin, na nangyayari, hindi na po prosecute eh. Ano? At ng mga nagbabiolate pa, ang mga ibang government officials. So, I will not go to that extent of saying the problem we're in now is because of the president. No, I don't think so.
Speaking of the president, SP, how is your working relationship with him now, considering that it was under your term when the Senate went all the way to the Supreme Court to challenge the limits of the president's power when he wanted to terminate the visiting forces agreement? Nagkaroon ba kayo ng clash niyan with the president, or did he understand the role he had to play as a Senate president?
No, I'm sure he does. He does understand my situation and our situation. On a personal level, we're friends. We've been friends since 1988. But that's about it. He has never meddled in affairs. And sometimes we can only voice out our opinion, but we have never meddled also in executive affairs. But we remain independent, and that is what we have been working on. And we criticize if we think we criticize. We have investigated the executive department a number of times. As a matter of fact, even as a committee of the whole, and therefore the Senate President as chairman. We investigated not only the Bureau of Immigration, the Bureau of Customs, the PhilHealth, napakarami na iniimbestigahan na Senado. And the output is, as far as the Senate records are concerned, as encouraging, because we have come out with the committee reports. We have approved the committee reports on the Senate floor. You know, when there is a committee report, it's called a draft committee report if it is not brought into plenary and it is not approved in plenary. It's merely a Senate committee report. But once it's approved in plenary, it's a Senate report. It's more weight as far as the Ombudsman is concerned, or the Department of Justice, the NBI, or what have you, even the courts. It has a different weight. And we have done that a number of times. You know, we have criticized the president when we need to criticize the president. We have supported the moves of the executive department and the president if it is good for the majority of the country. There are a number of issues that we can side with one side and we will disappoint another side. But always, at the end of the day, as far as my leadership is concerned, we always decide on what is good for the majority,
Mm-hmm.
not what is good for the president or for the administration or for the opposition.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we're handling it. I believe, and that's how my relationship with the president is cordial,
Okay.
friendly, cordial, but cordial in the sense that he knows that when we have to criticize, we do criticize.
Senate President, just out of curiosity, why didn't you join the opposition senators' petition against the country's withdrawal from the International Criminal Court when the question at hand was essentially the same? Can the president unilaterally revoke a treaty that was ratified with the Senate's concurrence?
Because at that point, I agreed with the Secretary, Teddy Bonoxi.
Mm.
I agreed with him. That's
And you
why.
still hold the same position now?
Yes, yes.
Okay. And another topic, Senate President, just very quickly, your comment on the 220 Chinese vessels that were found docked near the Juan Felipe Reef. Apart from filing a diplomatic protest, what else can the Philippines do to stop, the Chinese militarization of the West Philippine Sea?
Well, it is indeed a concern, no? Due to
Mhm.
the possible overfishing and destruction of marine environment, as well as the risks to the safety of navigation. But we also heard the Chinese spokesperson, who said that they were merely sheltering from from the wind near the reef after fishing in adjacent waters. They claim they were not in the Philippine territory. Now, whether which one is accurate, I'm not sure. The
Mhm.
Department of National Defense would know, or the Philippine Navy would know, or even the Philippine Coast Guard. But I understand that the we have the National Task Force for the West Philippine Sea,
Mhm.
the FWPS. They have expressed concern about the Philippine Coast Guard report,
Mhm.
that these Chinese vessels are being manned by maritime militia personnel, I think. But then again, we're not sure about it. We agree and concur. We support the position of the Department of Foreign Affairs. They are demanding the promptly withdrawal of these fishing vessels in our maritime assets in the vicinity and in the Calayan group of islands, of course, in the West Philippine Sea. But uh, bottom line, after the diplomatic protest of Secretary Locsin, um, the good thing about having a mutual defense treaty,
Mm.
and that is the reason we support the VFA. On a personal level, I support the VFA because of the mutual defense treaty. Um, Hindi ako masyadong kabado dun sa issue dyan.
Mm.
Because contained in the mutual defense treaty, and I'm not sure if everybody is aware of this, if many are aware of this. Once a government or Philippine government boat or any property is attacked by anyone, the mutual defense treaty takes action right away.
Mhm.
In this case, if let's say, papalagay mo na lang, I hope I'm not misquoted, madami yung sinasabi na taken out of context.
Mm.
Uh, papalagay mo, may China,
Mm.
tinira yung Coast Guard, automatic yun. We have the United States of America Mutual Defense Treaty that will kick into place.
Mhm.
I will not be worried if that happens. They should be the one who should be worried.
And
That's how I look at things right now.
Senate President Duterte himself has been down downplaying our victory in The Hague, essentially striking down China's claim on the West Philippine Sea, because he's been saying he's concerned that, if we do assert it, if we antagonize China, we're going to go at war against this country that has better military arsenal than the Philippines. Do you think our partnership, our treaties with the United States will be enough to protect the Philippines? Should it come to that? Will it even
Yes.
reach a situation of war?
No, I think, as I said, no, the mutual defense treaty is safe enough.
Mhm.
But I don't want to second guess the president. We can only opine that perhaps pini-PR lang niya. Merong ganun eh.
Mhm.
Alam mo kaming mga politiko, may pini-PR kami.
Mhm.
Kahit na medyo alam mong may bunggusan yan, PR-in mo na lang. Mas mabuting PR-in mo na lang imbis na awayin mo. Ganun eh.
Mhm.
Baka merong ganun si President. Total, kakampi naman natin ang Amerika eh. Di ba? So, again, I don't want to second guess him, but ang opinion ko, baka ganun lang yun. Because we have always that's the reason we are consoled and we should be comfortable with the NDT.
Mhm. Mhm. The Senate President, moving on to other matters, 3 years ago when you first sat down with Rappler, you observed that the crop of senators that we have now compared to senators years ago, you said they tend to take things a little personally in the chamber. Do you still have the same observation now? And what's your strategy in helping settle disputes among your colleagues? Because you've been praised to be very good at that. Very a unifying figure in the Senate.
Thank you. Well, I think they have grown into their roles. I think they have because the composition of the Senate then we had personalities coming from different sectors. So ganun talaga sa umpisa. But
Mhm.
they have grown into their roles. I think um, each of us knows what our role should be, and I think as far as legislation is concerned, we're very successful, considering that for almost a year already, we have been in a pandemic that was very difficult to handle, as far as legislation, because we had to do virtual, we had to do hybrid,
Mhm.
but there is this rule that we cannot hold a plenary if there is no a senator physically present in your home, the Senate's home.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, that's the reason that I have to be there
Mhm.
and take the risk almost every day. But
Mhm.
that's part of the job. So
Mhm.
I think my colleagues have been very diligent. They have been very diligent. They're full of research. Any one of them will probably be very good as far as their legislative work and catalog is concerned.
How is your relationship now with Speaker Lord Alan Velasco? Because we know your party mates in the Nationalist People's Coalition, played a very important role to help him finally become speaker and, outsmart Alan Peter Cayetano.
Pwede naman wag na yung outsmart. Pwede naman yung we supported him. The
Okay.
NPC supported, but that's a, that is a business of the House of Representatives. Hindi kami talaga nakialam doon. As a matter of fact, Speaker Alan Cayetano knew that I support him, and the entry of Speaker Velasco was an agreement that the NPC followed.
Mhm.
Anong sitwasyon nun. All right, going to your question now. Yeah, we're okay. We're good. Speaker Velasco and I have a very good working relationship. We call each other, we text each other, we talk to each other, we discuss things. As a matter of fact, his father is one of my advisors.
Mm. Si Governor Velasco.
Velasco. Yeah,
Mhm.
we've met a number of times, and he has always given me his thoughts, being a former justice of the Supreme Court.
Speaker Velasco, Senate President, is pushing for economic charter change. Is this still going to be a priority for the Senate, or is Chacha dead?
Chacha, Chacha is not possible at this point, I think. But charter amendments like the economic provisions, it's still possible if we have a window. Once we have a window, that would be possible. But as we speak, we have started our Easter break. We will resume on the 17th of May. I might call for a committee of the whole hearing in the second week of April, depending on how things work out as far as the importation of pork and other issues are concerned. But in that case, from May 17 to the 4th of June, there are a number of pieces of legislation we need to pass. Guide and that stuff, economic issues. The charter amendment, if there is a window, the possibility would probably be, as far as the Senate is concerned, because as a House pa naman yun, di pa naman get sa amin. The possibility for us to tackle it would be after the SONA of 2021.
To July pa.
July.
Is there...
The window that would be possible is August. In August, by the time the House of Representatives would be tackling the budget for 2022, it will be very crucial because it is a election year budget. And then it will reach the Senate, hopefully, again, with the assurance of Speaker Velasco, it will reach us before October 1 or by October 1. That'll give us enough time. So from August to October 1, if the House, before the adjournment sine die of 2021, if they pass that, those economic provisions and transmit it to us, that would mean that we will have time to tackle it by August or September until we receive the budget. That's the window that I'm saying. So it's possible. Chacha itself, I doubt it. Charter change. When you say Chacha, it's charter change. And I have always espoused the fact that I do not believe in charter change. I believe in character change. Ano rin ang spelling nun? Chacha. Chacha.
Well, Senate President, you mentioned some of the priority measures of the Senate. Apart from the budget, what bills will the chamber be expected to tackle in your last remaining months in office? Ano pa yung priority list nyo? Yung Bayanihan 3 ba, SP? Itatakal nyo ba yun? Kasi kaka-renew ng call ni Speaker Velasco to pass it.
Yes, that's possible. Especially if we need to redo the SAP or the Social Militarization program. That is possible. But remember, we extended Bayanihan 2. So when we extended Bayanihan 2, carry over lahat yung mga laman nun na nagagamit ng gobyerno, executive department. Ngayon. And then we also passed the vaccination rollout program. I know that the IRR now is medyo lang nagkaroon lang ng konting kontrobersya sa IRR, but I think they've shaped up. They shaped up as far as the IRR is concerned, because pinapaalala lang natin na yung IRR is talang implementing guidelines lang yon. They should not legislate the IRR. Kung ano yung nilegislate namin, yun lang dapat ang laman nun. Yun ang naging another issue that the Senate was unified on, whether majority or minority. Yung gagalawin yung batas na ginawa namin, to the IRR, gumagawa kayo ng sarili yung batas. Huwag ganon.
So you disagreed with initial plan sana, Senate President, to exempt certain industries, right? You were against that. You were against that clause that they put in.
Oo, at saka yung the two things. One, ayaw nilang payagan yung mga industries na mag-import na sarili. Pangalawa, sinisingle out yung mga manufacturers of same products. So, we don't want that. We never touched that in the sense. When we discussed it, we were saying that why do that? They are Filipinos. The workers are Filipinos. Mga kababayan natin sila. Yung mga nakaka-contribute sa ekonomiya, yung mga kumpanya na yan. Bakit hindi mo pa babaksin yung mga yun? Ba't hindi mo hayaang ibili nila ng vaccine yung kanilang mga empleyado? Iaasa nyo sa local government lahat yan. Eh, ngayon na nga, hindi tayo magkamayaw. So, that's one thing that hindi namin nagustuhan kagad doon sa ginagawang IRR. I'm sure it will turn out well because we were assured that they have removed it. According to Secretary Galvez, it has been removed.
Well, Senate President, the other day, the president appeared to have been confused a little bit. He said that he cannot provide indemnity to vaccine manufacturers because that's under the power of Congress. But you have actually passed that law, and he even certified that law. Did that statement of the president puzzle you in any way?
Well, perhaps he wasn't briefed on the content of the vaccination rollout program. Because I don't expect the president to read everything. He would probably be briefed by the office of the, what they call this, OPS. And perhaps he wasn't, that particular time, or before that, he was not briefed that it was already contained. And that we can't blame the pharmaceutical companies. It was fully explained to us by Secretary Galvez. And he even showed us the communications from them. They're afraid of what happened to the Philippines when the Philippines charged Sanofi. Ito, lalo na to, hindi sila nakahanda rito. Napilitan sila. Ngayon, bumibili tayo. Sabi nila, ayaw namin kayong pagbilan kasi didemanda nyo kami pag kami pumalpak dito. Diba, ganun ang sinasabi nila.
Senate President, winding down to my last few questions. In Philippine politics, because all roads lead to the elections, your name is already being floated as a possible vice presidential candidate for 2022. So what's the deal? Are you running for vice president, or are you going to run for the presidency in 2022?
I'm very frank and blunt about this. I have not decided. Senator Lacson and I have been talking about this because there were some sectors or some groups that were talking to us, approaching us, telling us. I think they tried to look at our background catalog, what we have done for the last 35 years in government. Pero we have not decided. Nag-uusap kami. Ang tingin ko, perhaps July, August, perhaps we can talk about it. But right now, we don't even discuss it seriously because of the situation of the country is in, the pandemic. I cringe whenever I hear people and I see people talking about politics, going around campaigning. Parang, ano ba naman yan? Parang ganun ang feeling ko. I feel the same way that our countrymen feel. Yung iba nawawala ng gana pag nakita niyan. Dami na nga natin problema, politika, iniisip. There is time for that. Ganun ang feeling ko. So, I'm very honest about it. I don't lie. I say that we're not sure. I don't know. I can go on a vacation. I can retire. There are other options. Ayoko nung pareho nung mga ibang naririnig ko na hindi raw sila tatakbo, hindi sila tatakbo. Pero pagdating ng October, magpapile yung mga yan. Itaga mo sa bato. Believe me, those people saying they're not running, itaga mo sa bato. They will file in October. But it's a good thing because then the people know they lie. If they can lie about that thing, how much more when they're in office already?
Senate President, you also mentioned that Senator Manny Pacquiao has also been talking to you. He is believed to be running for president.
Yeah, yes.
How did your conversations go with him?
he told me that he's interested in running for president.
Mm.
The same thing, I think he also said that to Senator Lacson. We talked about it. There was, I think, one time that the three of us were talking.
Ano yun, sir,
Uh,
nagpaalam si Senator Pacquiao or was he trying to
I
be
don't,
tandem?
I won't call it nagpaalam.
Mm.
I'd call it parang in straight lingo, bumubusina.
Mm. Okay.
Busina siya. Na, he's interested in running as president. He's mentioned it a couple of times already.
SP, you said going into your own party, you said some members of the party are convincing business tycoon Ramon Ang to run for president. Any update on these talks?
Well, we discussed it the last time. As a matter of fact, Speaker Velasco was there in a meeting. Kasi when Speaker Velasco and I first met, we've met each other. We've known each other before. But when, because Speaker Velasco and some of his friends, lang sila, Mikey Romero and all that, all the other guys, they usually attend the NPC fellowship. Kaya nagkikita kami. Ngayon, there was a time when he was already speaker.
So last year.
Last year, ang meeting the first time na magmi-meet kami, ginawa namin doon sa office ni Ramon. San Miguel. He was a common friend. He's in the absence of Ambassador Danding, Ramon is the NPC godfather. So we met there, and former Congressman Dong Mendoza, now the Secretary General of the House of Representatives, was there also, and also Congressman Mark Enverga. You see the relationship, no? Kita mo, Secretary General na ngayon yun pero noon hindi. Meeting kami. We met in Ramon's office. I meet with Ramon every now and then. But that particular meeting, yun yung napag-usapan niya, nabanggit yan. Na may mga kasama kami at saka may mga even members of media, and a columnist or two that were saying that because of the way Ramon is handling things and the way he's managed such a huge corporation and the way he has helped the people to the detriment of the company kung minsan. Abono, pero di ba, mga public works and stuff. They were saying that you should run for president. You will make a good president, di ba? So that time I mentioned it to him, and siyempre kwentuhang barkada I'm sure he was half jesting when he said na, President of the Philippines? Come on, it's a demotion. He's president of San Miguel. Yeah, it could have been said in jest. Naikwento ko lang sa ibang tao yun. And then, it found its way in the newspapers.
Pero SP ka ba open if ever Ramon Ang decides to run for president? Open ka to tandem with him or tandem kayo, whatever position you may.
If he decides to run for president, Senator Lacson and I will support him. I think, sometimes I can speak for the group. Senator Lacson, Senator Nasan, and I we sometimes speak for each other.
Senate President, in 2022, how much of a political force do you think President Duterte will be, especially when he endorses his anointed one?
Well, it will be a very strong political force because there are many supporters of President Duterte, even up to now. But I remember some time ago, he said he will not endorse anyone. Let the people decide. He mentioned that before. I don't know if he still feels the same way.
With all these talks, Senate President, about possible tandems, possible Senate slates in 2022, are you concerned that, senators, especially those who will be graduating or who are going to be up for re-election, are going to be distracted, especially when it's nearer the campaign season?
No, no. I think a big majority of them would still be working.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know if I think I have mentioned it time and again. Kasama naman namin yung ibang mga senador eh. I mentioned it before. The best way to campaign is to work hard. That is the best way to campaign. Especially now, na flesh to flesh. Handshaking is not possible. Di ba? The best way to campaign is hard work. Be diligent in your work. Do good for your countrymen. Do good for the country. And they will see it. The people will see it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Senate President, for my last question for today, how would you like to be remembered by Filipinos as their Senate President?
I think that the best people to ask that question would be the senators on both sides of the aisle. Members of the majority and minority. It's best that you ask them as far as the Senate presidency is concerned. But if you ask me on a personal level, on how I would want to be remembered, then I would want to be remembered as Tito Sotto, a composer and musician by profession, a sportsman by affiliation, a drug buster by vocation, and a public servant by conviction.
And very well said, Senate President. And I wish you luck, sir, in the remaining months of the 18th Congress. Balitaan mo ako, sir, pag may decision ka na when you run for 2022.
You've been assigned to the Senate already, you know?
Yes, sir. Just started this month. So thank you so much for agreeing to sit down and Rappler.
You'll be one of the first to know.
Thank you. That's good to know. And that's all the time that we have today. Once again, thank you for joining us, Senate President Sotto. It's been a pleasure.
My pleasure and honor. Thank you very much. Thank you. Regards.
Once again, that was Rappler Talk. I am Mara Cepeda. Join us again next time.